Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I'm Veronica Dan Ikoy. With me as usual are my co-hosts. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us once again. It's a rainy Thursday.
Yeah, it's me you are looking for. It's my Allah she's looking for. I said today that the train is the day I decided to do sexy. I planned my outfit since yesterday. So when I woke up this morning, I said, "Yay, it's raining." There's nothing I could do.
So you couldn't change,
you could have thrown on a jacket.
Anything.
No, but you had to start sourcing for clothes. No.
At 4 o'clock in the morning.
God not let you find clothes 10 minutes to live in the house. You will not make it.
I was even looking for my shoes. Because my girl, she's very forgetful. So she put the shoes somewhere. Where did you put my shoes? We come and see. Instead of leaving at 7:15, I left at 7.
Oh.
You are lucky there was no traffic.
Because the kids are...
No, the kids are not on... that helps a lot.
I would have come with slippers.
Anyway, how are you doing, ladies?
Fine.
Iman, how are you doing?
How was your journey today?
Today, they say once between 13 times shy. I do my corner, no more straight road.
You entered Lungus.
But it was good. I got here very early. I got just 7 on the dot. So it's fine. I'm okay.
Yeah, okay.
Grateful to God.
Hi, Tokwe.
I'm good. So, grateful to God for life. Grateful to God for journey mercies. My husband went to Benin and he went since on Sunday, came back yesterday. And my thought was, I really wished he would just fly to and fro. But where he was going to be he was going to be in commute consistently, and he felt that he can't put someone under accommodation in that space, so he had to drive. I was just praying, go safely, come back safely. Yesterday, they spent about 4 hours just before Ore. Apparently, 3, I think it should be in the papers, 1 Dangote truck and then 2 other vehicles collided, and they all caught fire, and it caused a major gridlock because they couldn't tow it out in time. And then he said even after that, staying in that traffic for that long, on the way back, the challenge is that almost the traffic could have been less if there wasn't periodic roadblocks. So I understand that the security, you want to check every vehicle, but if we are indeed effective in that security check, we will have less kidnapping. So it's not effective. Rather, it is sorting block, and it is intermittent. Sometimes within a drive of 1 hour, you meet like 5 police roadblocks. We need to be
circumspect.
Exactly.
Like for me, I actually I'm not happy this morning. Why? Because of the news I'm hearing about developments coming from the doctor strike. That is what is... this morning I heard a story of a guy that was scheduled to be treated, but at the end of the day, he might have his legs amputated.
Oh my God.
Because of the strike. And then there are those who have lost their loved ones because they had to move them out of the hospital as a result of the strike. And then the stories are so saddening because these people had bright future ahead of them. Nobody planned anything could happen.
They just had the misfortune of being in Nigeria.
The misfortune of being in the hospital, at the time, and the fact that their health went the direction it did. Now you are asking the doctors to consider their oath. But do you remember the oath you made to the people of Nigeria to ensure that you protect every decision you make is in their interest?
Exactly.
Basically in their interest.
And what I saw from a report from Premium Times this morning, that the president has spent 200 days since assuming office in the UK for medical treatment. So if in his own time he also understands the value of good health,
let's go. Well, let's quickly go on a short break, Tope. We'll return and look at the paper headlines. Stay with us. Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. All right, let's begin with the Nation newspaper. And the major headline here says, Secondus, PDP chief using huge public funds to fight me. Chairman the Christ push for caretaker committee. Dixon elders back leadership. BOT members Emodi dumps PDP for APC. And then we have a picture story here. Lagos launches 102 trucks, 100 bins to tackle refuse. We have fake votes, so $1.484 billion to fix Warri Kaduna refineries. Why government opposes payment of ransom by minister. Oil price falls to $71 on Delta COVID-19 variant fear. 3 feared killed. Government house war collapses in Oshobo. Law expert Winnie can continue to lead APC. Why I didn't join him. All right, and this story here, police student beheaded in Kwara. It's sad. Abdul Razak inaugurates commissioners. Who has this story?
So the police here, a man simply identified as Olawale on Monday went out of his house 8 p.m. and didn't come back home, and his mom went to look for him and now discovered his bodiless head. So they found the head alone, they didn't find the body. And he was found like at a junction in Kwara State. He does phone repair and also allegedly is a student of Polytechnic, Kwara Polytechnic. And they've said that it was very unusual for him to not be at home early, and his mom searched for him. When they found his head, the police confirmed the story and said that they are investigating, that it seemed like a cult-related clash, but that they were going to investigate to find out what really happened in his case. But our heart goes out to his mom,
Yes.
And Lagos has acquired 102 units of new trucks, compactor trucks, they call them, to help the waste
management in the state.
And 100 units of double Dino waste bins. And they were assembled actually here.
That's a good part of
That's a good part.
So there was a bit of employment for people that worked on it.
Yes, there was employment locally for people. The manufacturers that manufactured this were locally sourced people. The good part for me also is that now we have new trucks, so I'm expecting an improvement in waste collection across Lagos. On the Badagry Expressway, we have potholes, we have clogged gutter drainages, so there's flood on the Badagry Expressway as well as the Oworoshoki Expressway.
I just hoping
that Nigerians will also stop throwing their waste.
Make good use of this that has been provided by the
prompt
government.
Prompt collection is simple. 3 times a week at least. Pick up waste, because people can, and maybe we'll look into recycling later.
Don't you think maybe government should put waste bins in strategic places? Because like we have a waste bin that we supplied ourselves outside the shrine, and the whole area
is clean just because there's so
No, the whole area uses our dustbin. So we are paying
to collect the entire area
for the whole, and it can be killing.
It is.
So that could work as well. Anyway, let's quickly move now to the Daily Sun. And the major headline here says, Igboho court stops DSS, bars it from arresting pro-Yoruba Nation agitator, blocking his bank account, admits 12 detained associates to 10 million naira, 5 million naira bail. That's on the front page of the Daily Sun. Then we have here, IPOB declares war on unknown gunmen. Wants police against parading them as ESN operatives. PDP crisis, Secondus fights back, claims Father Christmas plotting to hijack party. And then we have the story, why we stopped negotiating with kidnappers of students, federal government. FEC approves $1.48 billion for rehabilitation of Warri Kaduna refineries. APC governors tighten grip on state structures. Kiamu's fate in Buhari's hands. Who has what story here?
So the refineries, yes. So the Federal Executive Council, presided over by the Vice President, yes, they awarded the rehabilitation of the Kaduna and Warri refinery to a Messrs. Saipen SPA, Saipen Contracting Limited, at the combined total of $1.484 billion. And this rehabilitation will be in 3 phases, 21, 23, and 33 months, according to the Minister of State for Petroleum.
All right.
We know we've debated the waste or possible practicality of of rehabilitating these refineries.
They've been rehabilitating it for so many years and it still hasn't worked. So why are we spending billions?
If the initial argument was that there were vandalizations of pipelines from these refineries, have we sorted that out before we do?
Okay, so I have this story on. Oh, you want to comment on that?
No. Go on. I was just going to say the whole story, but go on.
Okay. I have the story on why the federal government reacting to why they have stopped negotiating with kidnappers of students, because a lot of persons have been waiting to hear their reaction. And the federal government is saying that negotiating with kidnappers of students, that they use the money from ransom to equip and rearm themselves. And the Minister of State for Education, that's Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, made this disclosure to responding to questions rather from journalists at the end of the FEC meeting yesterday at the presidential villa. And they also spoke about, because there was a viral video of some students where there are demands of ₦1 million for each of the students, and so that the government is doing all within its effort to ensure that the students are released back to their parents, but that as for ransom, the federal government will not be doing that, basically. So, the Igboho story.
Yeah. The federal government the courts have said the DSS cannot arrest Igboho, they can't freeze his accounts, and they cannot, they can't freeze it, and they've stopped freezing of his accounts, saying, so he's a free...
Fundamental human rights.
It's
technically free.
Yeah, he's technically free. And then they've also granted bail to the 12...
His aides.
12 aides. Yeah. Saying, the DSS didn't even have a case against them. They just arrested them. So you haven't brought a case, and you're asking us to... And the DSS didn't oppose 4 of them, and opposed another 4. Saying, and the court said, no, the 4 that you oppose, I'll give them 10 million. And the other 4,
5 million.
5 million. But they didn't talk about the last 4. So I'm not sure.
We're still waiting to hear what will be the breakdown.
So from the reports, all of them have been...
It's basically a developing story, so there'll still be more.
What I want to know is if they will actually give them
those other ones on bail as well. IPOP story. IPOP has declared that the unknown gunmen are not members of Eastern Security Network, and that the police should stop affiliating them. So they spoke against the unknown gunmen attacking people within the southeast, and reiterated the fact that they are not part of us, and that the police should stop picking up innocent young men and parading them as members of ESN and gunmen attacking the community.
All right. Let's quickly go on a short break. When we return, we'll continue reviewing the papers. Stay with us. Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
It's scary, isn't it? Putting yourself out there, ignoring the voices telling you can't. Moments like these are when your fight or flight response kick in. Will you step aside? Or will you go for it? After all, what's the worst that could happen? So, keep trying. Don't stop. Don't give up. Push harder. Give it everything you've got. Because nothing is really impossible when you dig.
Àwọn kan wà tí wọ́n bá kú tọ́jọ́ kú wọn ò tí ì pé wọ́n á papòdà síbòmíì.
Is that how you're gonna say it? wá sọ yẹn.
Ó ṣe wá kọ̀wé ránṣẹ́ yìí pé òun fẹ́ rí mi kájọ fojúkojú yìí kò yé èmi o.
Bó ṣe pé ẹ̀rí ẹ̀mí lẹ́kùnmọ́ àyà mi ti sọ kí.
Torí kí ni?
Àkọ́yẹ́ kọ́ mọ́ píjẹ́ ẹ̀mí lẹ́kùnmọ́ yọmọ mú yẹn rí flashback jọ́ ìkí ọmọ tó mọ́ ẹgbọ́n mọ́.
Come closer. A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversations on the hot topics. The ladies of Your View and I will be stirring up our guests to get an in-depth into all the various topics, and you, our viewers, will have the opportunity to call in and share your views. After all, it's your view. Join us on Your View, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for a fantastic conversation. Don't miss it.
How we're doing, guys? Is the makeup in progress? Makeup?
Check.
Are the scripts on the prompter? Script?
Check.
Are we set in the VCR? All tip in place? VCR.
Check. Clock is ticking, time is racing, lights are. Plans all set. 120 minutes of hot entertainment. We are ready for the mission.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers, and I have now the Punch newspapers. And the major headline here says, Secondus battles for survival, Tambuwal rallies support as Wike plots PDP chairman's removal. And federal government hires JP Morgan and others on $6.2 billion fresh borrowing. Twitter ban, Nigerians lose 150.46 billion naira in 2 months. And then another story here says 150 Nigerian doctors ready for exams ahead practicing in UK. And the story here says Lagos increases isolation facilities, plans for spike. Oyetola laments as Osun flood sweeps away three destroys houses, shops. Who has what story? Nima?
I have the JP Morgan story. So in a press statement titled Towards Financing the 2021 Appropriation Act, the federal government appoints transaction advisors for a Eurobond issuance. So the transaction advisors, according to the Debt Management Office, are International Book Runner, JP Morgan, Citigroup, Global Markets Limited, Joint Leads Managers, Nigerian Book Runners, Chapel Hill, Denham Advisory Services Limited, Financial Advisors, FSDH Merchant Bank, International Legal Advisors, Advisor Whites and Case LLP, and Nigerian Legal Advisor Banwo and Igudalu. So these are out of 38 companies that, bidded. They put a public bidding process for this procurement. These 8 companies were selected to give financial advice for the Euro bond that we'll be using to generate money to finance our 2021 Budget Appropriation Act.
Let me take the 150 Nigerians. So, they said no fewer, in their words, 150 Nigerian doctors that are interested in practicing in the UK are currently awaiting to write their clinical examination. Once they write the clinical examination and they are found eligible, they would also be traveling. Let me just give this statistics because the spokesperson, the Nigerian National President of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, said that the numbers have not even really increased because of pandemic last year. So there have been more people that would have moved, even if not for the pandemic, and that it's simple: pay people's salaries, put the welfare of doctors.
Do you know how much the hazard allowances?
Yes.
I think 5,000 or 6,000.
Put the interest of the doctors in your mind. Create enabling facility for them, saying that in between December last year, about 1.3% per day were traveling out into the UK, but now it's 3.3 per day between April and May. So we're having more doctors writing the exams and moving out. I heard that there is an agency that has like a job fair for female doctors to go to Saudi because they need more women to take care of their women there. So we have people that are milking, doing brain drain, and we have a set of leaders that seem to think you can go, it's your private... So
a total of, the ridiculous figure is that we have about 4,000 doctors in Nigeria, and we have over 200.
If we have 150 living,
yes, and
so
we
have more living. So we train for them to go, and we say we don't want. It's not an emergency yet for us to do anything about it. According to the president, by his actions, your health is your priority, not the priority of others.
And in Osun State, there was rain from late on Tuesday till early Wednesday, so it caused floods, and 3 corpses were found. One lady was found on a palm tree, another one in between 2 palm trees, another one was found in the river. That was the Okada. That one was swept away by the river, and the governor has come out to say, look, he's feeling for the families, and he's going to do everything in his power to make sure there are no floods, but that the people too should please stop putting waste in the
gutters or drainage systems. All right, let's quickly move to the Vanguard newspaper now. And the major headline here says, Sunday Igboho's 12 aides get 80 million naira iron bail. To another story, Katsina Emirates shuns federal government, bans open grazing as bandits kill 25 in Kaduna. Docility responsible for thriving impunity in Nigeria, Wale Soyinka's reacting there. And then the story says, Tinubu's hail hearty, what I discussed with him. Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, speaking there. PDP crisis deepens as Secondus tears governors apart. MDC and can't stop house doctors from joining strike NAD. Buhari, Sanwo-Olu greet Emefiele at 60, Abdul Samad at 61. So this story that was...
Let's take the Emirates.
Okay, I want to quickly react to this story that it's almost on all the papers because the governor traveled to the UK to see Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu based on the rumors that was making the rounds during the weekend about his health. And, you know, he took pictures with Asiwaju, and he said that he is hale and hearty. That's the governor speaking, saying that the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is hale and hearty, unlike the rumors making the rounds. And what they discussed was basically about his health. Basically, so that's it.
The Katsina Emirates has decided to go along with the Southern governor's decision, considering if your priority is to protect your people, they decided to ban open grazing. And this is a landmark for me, because this is one of the northern states not following the general noise making. So the realities on ground is that open grazing has continued to be used as a disguise for serious criminal activities across the north and even in the south. And so a state has decided to do the right thing, or ban it, so that you can at least find anybody with a cattle who is using his cattle to disguise in any criminal activity. So they've banned that in their state. And
in the same story, they talked about the Kaduna government confirmed the death of 25 people in renewed attacks in communities of the Kauru local government. And also in Suleja, the bandits, terrorists, entered into houses and kidnapped people. So they're not even doing road again. They're actually entering people's houses and kidnapping them.
That's scary.
And this lady said she was in the house. They broke the wall, the gate, entered, and then they took all her things and her 2 children. Can you imagine? They stole all her phones, everything, money, and then took her 2 children with them.
So they left her so that she can source for the money to
yes, you know. So I think it is so sad. And this was in Suleja.
It's getting really, really critical.
The last thing that was in the story was one of the Chibok girls has surrendered with her husband. You know, the Chibok girls that were taken in 2014. she's surrounded with her husband, but they've kept her identity.
I was quickly take Shoyinka's story. So the show on the 20, speaking at the 24th edition of Wole Soyinka's lecture series, the Nobel laureates mentioned the fact that the docility of Nigerians is what has led to what is going on, the impunity around us. Also was Patrick Lumumba mentioned the fact that he's surprised that not just within Nigeria, across Africa, we reward ineffective and corrupt politicians with re-elections, and that we need to be more active, we need to speak more against, we should stop rewarding corrupt politicians, and we should speak against the corruption. We should stop being docile as a country with what is going on in our environment. And I believe that people need to pay attention.
Nigerians' consciousness to what it is going on.
Yes, so I forgot to say, the Chibok girl is married to a Boko Haram person. I didn't say that, Abi.
No, you didn't.
Because she didn't just surrender. Yeah. She's married to a Boko Haram. It's a Boko Haram that's
surrender together. All right, to the Guardian newspaper now. The major headline saying government Twitter silences ban clocks 2 months. Another story here: tears, grief as NYSC flies bodies of core members to Uyo for burial. A really sad one there. And then we have 20 prospective core members test positive for COVID-19 in Kano. Chibok girl terrorist hobby surrender to troops in Borno. That's the story we're talking about, YK. Court admits Igboho's associate to 10 million naira, 5 million naira bail. Lagos showcases 102 trucks, 100 locally assembled bins to tackle waste. Nima.
So these core members on their way to camp in Katsina were involved in a car accident, and they lost their lives. All 5 of them were flown back to Uyo for burial by the Nigerian Air Force and the NYSC as a body to to their parents. And the stories were just so heart-wrenching for me. Family members receiving them. Unfortunately for these families, they are very, very indigent family members. They were looking up to these young ones who have finally gotten some form of education to bring that better life for their family members. And you see bedridden parents receiving the bodies of their children having died in a car accident. I remember that when we were at law school, there was this thing called rebate for core members and law school members that my colleagues used to talk about, so even though I never took advantage of. I think it's something that the NYC must partner airlines, even though private airlines, to allow students traveling that kind of distance to states as far as Katsina do, give them some form of discount flights. So whatever the cost of transport is what they will be allowed to, they should be allowed to pay. Transport for road is what they should be allowed to pay for flights to get to where they are going safely. Because according to a Facebook user in the same Guardian story, it's funny how they died by road and then they were flown, their dead bodies flown back by, it just doesn't make any sense.
Ironic. Anyway, who has any other story here? No other story. Okay, so let's go to the Nigerian Tribune. The major story here saying FEC backs federal government's acquisition of $2.76 billion minority stake in Dangote refinery. 3 Fiat killed, government house fence, others destroyed as downpour wreaks havoc in Oshun. Abducted Chibok girl, terrorist husband, others surrendered to Nigerian troops. 115 civilian, 21 police officers killed in Southeast in 4 months. Amnesty International speaking there. Court stops DSS AGF from arresting, harassing Igboho, admits his associate to 10 million, 5 million bail conditions. Katsina Emirate bans open grazing in Metropolis, a story Nima took earlier. Navy takes delivery of 50 gunboats, drones for maritime operations. That's some good news. What I discussed with Tinubu in London, Sanwo-Olu, affair on Thursday, how and when Kyari can be lawfully extradited. Who has what story here?
So the Navy have gotten 50 assault gunboats and drones to help tackle the insecurity and criminality along the nation's territorial waters. Nigeria's waterways internationally is one of the most dangerous. And right now, some of it was donated by ITU Global Group, 21 gunboats and 14 operational patrol boats, 7 house boats and 4 airboats, and other speed boats. They were all received at the Port Harcourt, in Port Harcourt by the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Air Admiral Awal Gambo. So I'm hoping that this would improve our waterways and maybe increase transactions with Nigeria.
That's what Nigerians are hopeful to see. So we will be going on a short break, but the question will be that should public servants be banned from seeking medical care outside Nigeria? That's our conversation when we return. Stay with us. Stay tuned. Your view will be right.
I'm looking for the cup I kept here. Let's film Gary mi jeje.
But really, how is that my fault now? You're playing game and I'm playing along with you.
You have a very bad timing. Oh, when to bring and when not to bring it. Oh, but salary it here. What do you demand the whole way? What kind of husband does that?
Ọlọ́run má jẹ́, ọkùnrin lèmi máa mi. No, olóyè kó bẹ̀ mí, olóyè kó wà submissive. Tí kan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ olóyè kó kúnlẹ̀ kó bẹ ọkọ ẹ̀.
Tó bá ti gbèrò lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ikọ̀ ọba mi.
Kò sówó lọ́wọ́ tí o. Kí ló fowó ṣe?
Just imagine, ìwọ fúnra ara ẹ̀ lójú tiẹ̀ nínú aṣọ ẹbí tí wọ́n fẹ́ kówó rà àti business tọkọ tí ẹ fẹ́ fowó ṣe èwo lórí sí níbi.
Kẹ́mi dúró, kí dúró kó máa fojú mi rí rẹ́dẹ̀rẹ́dẹ́, kí máa wo ṣe àtòrí burúkú tẹ́tọ́ ṣe tẹ́tọ́ kí sára yín láàrin títì.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
How we're doing, guys? Is the makeup in progress? Makeup.
Check.
Are the scripts on the prompter? Script.
Check.
Are we set in the VCR? All Tim in place? VCR.
Check. Clock is ticking, time is racing, lights are. Plans all set. 120 minutes of hot entertainment. We are ready for the mission.
Come closer. A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversations on the hot topics. The ladies of Your View and I will be stirring up our guests to get an in-depth into all the various topics, and you, our viewers, will have the opportunity to call in and share your views. After all, it's your view. Join us on Your View, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for a fantastic conversation. Don't miss it.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Now, during the 8th Assembly, Honorable Sekinus Oguns sponsored a bill seeking to ban public servants from traveling outside the country for medical care. According to him, once this bill is passed into law, our ailing sector will come back to life in a manner never experienced before, and that public officials will be left with no choice than to invest in our health sector. Joining us now is the Honorable Sekinus Oguns himself. He will be talking to us about the bill. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning. Can you hear me, Honorable Oguns? Honorable Oguns, are you there?
Hello?
Right. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
I can.
All right. Now talk to us about what transpired when you put the bill across to your colleagues at the 8th Assembly. Why it didn't see the light of day?
Well, I guess it's the politics of the day. That bill, it took almost 2 years from first reading for it to be presented for the second reading after so much persuasion and follow-up. I remember then the then Speaker Dogara, when he even read it, and he read when the process is usually when it was first taken as first reading, he even exclaimed that, wow, why did it take this long? But we debated it and it went through second reading. But for it to come and it was referred to the committee and then nothing happened to it. And then the chairman rules of business then had to invoke Order 17 Rule 3 sub 1G of our rule book to discharge the committee of its responsibility of holding the public hearing because they are taking months. So it's not supposed to be programmed for clause by clause consideration, which is committee of the whole. Then it was listed a couple of times, it would not come up. And before I knew it, the end of the 8th Assembly came and that was it. So it was frustrated basically. And I would not necessarily say it was my colleagues alone, maybe even the civil servants. But in any case, I think Section 46 of the Health Act, President Health National Health Act, even forbids any public servant from using funds, government funds, to travel overseas for treatment. So we're actually trying to amend that act to make it more punitive. So there's already a law that does not allow public funds to be spent on medical tourism. So for anybody spending Nigerian money overseas right now, you should be ready for impeachment if we have a viable parliament. That's the truth. There's a law.
So have you pushed the law? Have you pushed the bill again for this 9th Assembly?
Mm-hmm. Honorable Oguns, can you hear us?
Yes, I was breaking when you were speaking the last time. I didn't quite hear what you said.
I said, have you pushed the bill again? Have you sponsored the bill again for this 9th Assembly?
Yes. I have presented the bill again. It's gone through first reading. Then the problem again is for it to be slated for second reading. I had pushed and followed up. Then we have a weekly order paper. So the whole activities during plenary will be listed during the week. Then this bill was supposed to come out on a particular day within the week. I prepared for this, provided the brief. I came to the chamber, it was not listed. I went to the chairman rules and business, who told me, but that bill came in the last house and it was controversial. He is my good friend. I told him, it's not your place to say whether it's controversial or not. It is for it to be debated on the floor of the house.
Exactly.
And it's for the house to see whether it's controversial or not. And he said it was okay.
So,
Honorable Oguns, are you there? We have having some technical challenges with the network there. So much to be said.
I was really impressed when I read the details of the proposed bill, and to think it was already proposed right from the 8th Assembly and we're still waiting this long. I think that a lot of Nigerians
it says a lot.
Yes. We should.
All right, we hear his back on the line now. Honorable Oguns, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, Nima, you wanted to ask a question.
So when he mentioned controversial, so it is expected, sir, that this bill, of course, will not sit well with the people who take advantage of the hospitals abroad the most, and most of them are in the political class, the elites, and civil servants of high management level in the federal civil service or even state civil services. So you would expect this. What did you do to sensitize the larger number of people who are the receiving end of the abandonment of the system? That's the populace. What did you do? Because I was shocked yesterday when I found out this, and our producer was saying we had to reach out to you.
Well, I had reached out to the media and then to civil society. They have copies of the bill. They had it in the last house. And I remember it was a battle. It was a battle for that to even go through second reading. And when it went through second reading, it was even carried in the news. It was in the news. But like I said, nobody voted against it on the floor, or not too many people voted against it on the floor. But when you deliberately frustrate it from becoming law, what can you really do about it? The media were well sensitized and they took it, but it was frustrated. And that is what's happening again. So now we are discussing it. But beyond here, what happens?
Beyond the discussion.
That's a big question. Beyond here, what happened? But we need to quickly go on a commercial break because that's what our producer is telling me now. But when we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us.
With my pregnancy, I started looking for the best of everything for my baby. When I met Monfix Newborn, I said,
TVC Communications, we're all about our audience. Millions of viewers, listeners, and readers every day all around Nigeria.
Our 2 TV stations are among the most watched in Nigeria.
TVC News is our award-winning 24-hour national and international news channel headquartered here in Lagos, broadcasting live from our custom-built state-of-the-art news headquarters.
TVC, the top-rated family entertainment channel, is the place for fun, music, and information. With our breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria, the all-female chat show, Your View, the best soaps and dramas from Nolly, Bolly, and Hollywood, music and entertainment blast, courtesy E-Splash, and of course, award-winning news and current affairs. It is all here.
With news bureau and studios around the country and the ability to go live anywhere, anytime, we are first for breaking news in Nigeria. Awarded the NMMA TV Station of the Year, TVC News is the station of choice for news that is first, accurate, balanced, and reliable every time. TVC and TVC News watched by over 4.5 million people in Nigeria every day on terrestrial, DTH, DTT, OTT, and available to viewers in the UK on Sky TV. Watch all of our world-class programs on TV, online, and on our app. TVC and TVC News, the best entertainment and news for Nigeria on TV and online.
And when you can't watch us, listen to us. 102.3 Max FM Lagos and 90.9 Max FM Abuja are now ranked among the most listened to radio stations in Nigeria.
Now, with over 1.5 million listeners every day, we're the people's favorite radio station. Best hit music, best on-air talent. Max 102.3 hit music for Lagos and Max 90.9 hit music for Abuja. We are your home for that fun, entertainment, and hit music.
In Lagos, TVC, our leading family entertainment TV channel, has a 47% market share. But this is just the start of our journey, as we plan to add even more services to entertain and inform our ever-growing audience. Thanks for being part of the TVC communications story.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we were speaking with the Honorable Seginus Oguns, who sponsored a bill during the 8th Assembly seeking to ban public servants from traveling outside the country for medical care. And he has been telling us how his efforts were being frustrated by his colleagues. Dokwa, you wanted to say something with regards to that?
Yes. So what I realized is after the conversation yesterday, I started asking everybody I knew within that understood the law and present and past legislatures to help me understand what can Nigerians do if we have a bill of interest that we believe will be favorable to us, and we can see that the system at the upper chamber is stalling the process of passing that bill. And I was informed that, number one, even if the chambers pass it, the president can choose not to assent it, and that there are several bills that have been passed by the House of Assemblies that the president has not signed into law. That there is that part, and that, but for us as a people, if we desire this law to take effect, what we're meant to do is to raise the awareness level on all social media platforms, clamoring for the speaker to request for it. So the person that can request for this reading to go through, for this bill to go to second reading is the speaker. And if we let him know this is what we want, and everybody is picking up concerning it, we can get him to
so perhaps you throw that question to Honorable Oguns, because I hear he is back online.
Honorable Oguns? Can you hear me,
I understand.
sir?
I heard what you just said.
Okay, so I wanted to
go. That's one of
I wanted to channel this as a question this way, sir. One, I must applaud the fact that you pushed for this, and I want to say, how can Nigerians support towards ensuring this bill goes through the second reading and preferably gets passed into law?
Yes, from what you just have said, the last time person just said, if you sensitize the people enough and you compel the politicians to do the right thing, they will do it. After all, you voted for them. If we get people calling from constituencies, especially now the speaker, so really one, if everybody says, Mr. Speaker, not even from his constituency, he represents the whole country now. We want this bill taken. But in any case, let me reiterate, Section 46 of the National Health Act even forbids the president or anybody spending public funds on foreign treatment. That act is still in existence, 2016 Act. That's what we are just trying to amend to make it more punitive and to expand it. But there's already a law that does not even allow public servants to go outside and spend money from the government coffers. So if we really implement that, the president should be facing impeachment now.
So,
but sensitization is good.
Use public funds.
So how do you determine public funds? Now, help us understand what you mean by public funds here. Because if you say that this is actually on the ground, how come it's not being effected? Because efficient implementation of laws has always been the challenge in this part of the world.
Somebody should go to court and demand that the president refunds every money he has spent. based on this. And if he's flouting the law, the National Assembly should commence proceedings for his impeachment.
So why
Not only the
haven't you
president,
taken
governors
that
do it.
up? Why haven't you taken that up by going to court?
Even a simple bill, I cannot get a simple bill to go through second reading in a chamber, in a house where I was elected to act and represent Nigerians and my constituency. You are telling me to go to court. You are a Nigerian, go to court.
So if you, who is, holds some level of authority as a member of the House of Representatives, cannot go to court, and you're pushing a bill that hasn't gone as far as seeing the light of day, so what is the hope of Nigerians ensuring that this bill see the light of day or go to court at the end of the day?
Talking about now, there is already a law that is in existence that people can go to court for and enforce.
So civil society needs to get to work, sir.
Exactly. So
we need to get more,
I agree with you, Honorable Sir, that
he has done his own part.
That you have tried, that other Nigerians should be conscious and
which
try
means
to
the
do
president will have to.
So something. So you've mentioned that there's an existing law that is contravened 200 times now that the president has been abroad in this 200
days,
200 days of his entire.
He might not have spent the public funds.
No. The court will determine.
That was why I asked.
What is public funds?
What is public funds?
So public funds for his health payment, public funds for the flight taking, because we know, of course, the court will determine all of that. But Nigerians should rise up and take action.
When you're asking what is public funds, let's assume that he's using his salary to go and...
Is this still public funds?
Yes.
I'm assuming it is not public. If it's a salary, I'm assuming it's not public funds. But is he going by private airline? Is he going by public airline, I mean?
Yes.
Or is he taking the
presidential
jet?
Yes.
If he's taking the presidential jet, that's public funds.
Yes.
Thank you, Waiki, for taking
If he's staying in Abuja house while he's there, it's public funds.
So even if you are using your own personal money, you are still using public funds.
Let me even add to you that if you're paid by public funds and you spend that money while you're in office in another country, I think it is public funds as well. So when you have your private business that we know, so and so, for instance, now we are president, you're from the farm. If the farm can
pay is funding their
for private jets as well,
the number of
because
cattle.
And when we play these games. You know why this thing is not popular is because a lot of Nigerians want to sit pretty and everybody's waiting when it's my turn. I don't want the law to affect me.
We cannot assume, though.
No. Why would this not gain the popularity that it deserves?
Yeah.
Seeing how much of this we are suffering, it should have, in fact, the bill should just pass itself in 2 days into law. Nobody should even object to it.
It should be one of those bills that goes
at
through
committee
fast
level,
reading.
It was buried.
All right. Quickly.
Yeah, Honorable, I wanted to ask you, is there a way we can assist you effectively to get this bill passed? At least, let's know that, okay, the bill has been passed and then it's now on the...
implementation.
Waiting for accent.
Waiting for the president's signature. Is there a way we Nigerians, people of the press, Nigerians can assist you effectively to get this bill passed?
By doing what you are doing now, we need to discuss it, and then we need to have a presence on social media. We need to energize the system and get everybody talking about it. But like I said, there's already a bill, there's already a law, not bill, there's already a law. Section 46 of the National Health Act forbids the president to do what he's doing today. Even if you say he's spending his personal money, he should let us know how much that money is, So let us know, to know whether he's worth that kind of money. But there's no disclosure. So I think all these our senior advocates of Nigeria should be in court to first challenge that and then compel the National Assembly to start impeachment proceedings. Because this is flagrant abuse of the law that is in existence already.
Exactly.
Now, quickly, we need to know why you came up with this bill in the first place. What did you see that you ensure that you needed to come up with something that would stop public officers from going out of the country to treat themselves?
Well, if it was possible for you to play the YouTube version of the discussion of the debate on the floor of the House, which you have a copy there, I explained clearly that those that voted for us cannot even use the public health system If we can afford to go outside, those that voted for us cannot even afford because there is no health system in place. So the public, the civil servants that write the budget, they send it to the National Assembly to approve. The president has sent, or rather to pass, National Assembly passes it, the president has sent, it goes back to the civil servants. If we are all flying abroad for treatment, those that we are representing, we are less than 1%. Those that we are representing cannot even afford to go to a primary healthcare center, a secondary healthcare system, or even tertiary. The minimum we should do is to make sure that these ones are functioning. Then if you, not a public officer, a business person that wants to go outside can go. But you cannot be making the law. You cannot be passing the budget. You cannot be writing the budget. And you don't fund the healthcare system. When you...
Sure. Honorable Oguns, they're trying to...
He just hits a chord for me.
Yeah, trying to express.
You're the one making law, but if you fail to fund, you make laws concerning healthcare, but you fail to fund healthcare, and so you don't use healthcare.
Last year during the heat of the pandemic, a lot of these government people could not go abroad because how will you go? So they were forced to use our own healthcare system. They didn't go to general hospitals, so they went to private clinics where a lot of them died. And it still didn't teach them to come back and, the ones that remained alive, to fund the healthcare system, to, because health is wealth.
Absolutely.
A healthy nation, you know where we will go, that you can walk into the hospital, you can do everything you need to do in a general hospital. Look,
and there are several avoidable deaths.
I'm sure I've said it on this. I took my finger to a private, because I have, they call it something thumb. I forgot what they call it. You could get it when you are getting older. So I can't bend my thumb. I'll be writing too much. The guy, the doctor, private hospital, he was so callous. Yeah, we're going to operate on it. I say, on this my finger. I said, okay, thank you. That was the last. I never went back there. I managed my thumb, and I've been managing it. This is like 4 years on. I'm managing. Because that doctor, guess what? That doctor is no more in that hospital. He has gone abroad.
Of course.
The way he treated me, he will never treat anybody like that in England. He will lose his job.
Yes.
He will lose his job.
So
there are no checks and balances in these hospitals.
It's a really sad development.
No checks and balances.
Really sad.
Even in the government hospitals, we have a lot of corruption happening.
Right. We need to quickly take this commercial break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
At TVC Communications, we're all about our audience. Millions of viewers, listeners, and readers every day all around Nigeria.
Our 2 TV stations are among the most watched in Nigeria.
TVC News is our award-winning 24-hour national and international news channel headquartered here in Lagos, broadcasting live from our custom-built state-of-the-art news headquarters.
TVC, the top-rated family entertainment channel, is the place for fun, music, and information. With our breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria, the all-female chat show, Your View, the best soaps and dramas from Nolly, Bolly, and Hollywood, music and entertainment blast, courtesy E-Splash, and of course, award-winning news and current affairs. It is all here.
With news bureau and studios around the country and the ability to go live anywhere, anytime, we are first for breaking news in Nigeria. Awarded the NMMA TV Station of the Year, TVC News is the station of choice for news that is first, accurate, balanced, and reliable every time. TVC and TVC News watched by over 4.5 million people in Nigeria every day on terrestrial, DTH, DTT, OTT, and available to viewers in the UK on Sky TV. Watch all of our world-class programs on TV, online and on our app. TVC and TVC News, the best entertainment and news for Nigeria, on TV and online.
And when you can't watch us, listen to us. 102.3 Max FM Lagos and 90.9 Max FM Abuja are now ranked among the most listened to radio stations in Nigeria.
Now, with over 1.5 million listeners every day, we're the people's favorite radio station. Best hit music, best on-air talent. Max 102.3 hit music for Lagos and Max 90.9 hit music for Abuja. We are your home for that fun, entertainment, and hit music.
In Lagos, TVC, our leading family entertainment TV channel, has a 47% market share. But this is just the start of our journey, as we plan to add even more services to entertain and inform our ever-growing audience. Thanks for being part of the TVC communication story.
A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversations on the hot topics. The ladies of Your View and I will be stirring up our guests to get an in-depth into all the various topics, and you, our viewers, will have the opportunity to call in and share your views. After all, it's your view. Join us on Your View, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for a fantastic conversation. Don't miss it.
For the cup I kept here, let's film Gary mi jeje.
But really, how is that my fault? You're playing game and I'm playing along with you.
You have a very bad timing. Oh, when to bring and when not to bring it. Oh, but salary it here. Oh, to one demand the one over way. What kind of husband does that?
Ọlọ́run má jẹ́, ọkùnrin lèmi máa mi. No, olóyè kó bẹ̀ mí, olóyè kó wà submissive. Tí nǹkan bá ṣẹlẹ̀, olóyè kó kúnlẹ̀ kó bẹ̀ ọkọ ẹ̀.
Tó bá ti gbèrò lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ìkan bá mi.
Kò sówó lọ́wọ́ tí o. Kí ló fowó ṣe?
Just imagine, ìwọ fúnra ara ẹ̀ lójú tiẹ̀ nínú aṣọ ẹbí tí wọ́n fẹ́ kówó rà àti business tọkọ tí ẹ fẹ́ fowó ṣe èwo lórí sí níbi.
Kẹ́mi dúró, kí dúró kó máa fojú mi rí rẹ́dẹ̀rẹ́dẹ́, kí máa wò ṣe àtòrí burúkú tẹ́tọ́ ń ṣe tẹ́tọ́ ń kí sára yín láàrin títì.
How we're doing, guys? Is the makeup in progress? Makeup
check.
Are the scripts on the prompter? Script
check.
Are we set in the VCR? All Tim in place? VCR
check. Clock is ticking, time is racing, lights are. Plans all set. 120 minutes of hot entertainment. We are ready for the mission.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Right now, we'll be looking at reports that came up in the papers yesterday and today about COVID-19 outbreak in some NYSC camps. Some are reporting that 109 core members tested positive to COVID-19, while in the papers today we saw 20. But then we will be speaking with Eddie Megwa, the Deputy Director, Press and Public Relations, NYSC, and State Coordinator, NYSC, to clear the air on this development, because there are a lot of concerns from parents with regards to this developing story. Eddie Megwa, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate for giving us the opportunity to respond to the questions you may have.
All right. There are reports making the rounds that about 109 core members have tested positive to COVID-19. Talk to us what the true situation is. Give us a clear picture of it.
Oh, well, let me start first by joining my Director General to commiserate with the families of our prospective corps members that lost their lives while going to report for the National Youth Service Corps. Haven't collected their call-up letters. It's quite unfortunate. The NYSC family feel highly embittered. We feel so bad, and we commiserate with the families and the entire nation for the loss of these young, patriotic Nigerians that were on their way to answer the clarion call in the service to the fatherland. Well, being that as it may, back to your question, it is really rather unfortunate that most of the media is fully misrepresenting NYSC. If you go to every NYSC orientation camp nationwide, we are conducting COVID-19 tests at the gate of every orientation camp. And as core members are coming in, or prospective core members are coming in, they are not yet core members. They are tested at the gate. If you're negative, you will have a way inside the camp. If you're positive, the NCDC that is permanently residing with us in all the orientation camps will take you to isolation center. And the picture is very clear. There is no prospective core member that tests positive that will be allowed to get into any orientation camp. So all the publications you're seeing probably are those that tested positive when they arrive at the gate of the orientation camp. And immediately the NCDC that is working permanently with us will take them to isolation center. They don't have access to NYSC orientation camp. And we need to get this thing very clear. Core members are those that have been registered inside the orientation camp and sworn in by the chief judge of the various states of the federation. Now, when they are arriving at the gate, they are still prospective core members. And so people are mixing these two words as if it is one. They are not. Until a core member is fully registered at the orientation camp and sworn in, nobody addresses him or her as a core member. So what you are seeing is what happened with prospective core members that arrived from their various states or homes to the various orientation camp gate, where this RDT test is being taken, and when they are positive, they go back. Negative, you have your access into the
Sir, don't you think this is a lot?
We are being
Don't you think this is very harsh, considering that some core members have to travel unbearable distances to camp? You imagine the Katsina accident case as case in study now. Imagine that they didn't die. The distance that cost their lives could have been stressful enough to travel on, and then they get to camp only for them to be tested and returned. Or what will happen to them at that point?
And then because you say you send them back, that means they will be spreading disease all on the journey.
He said they are taken to isolation centers.
Oh, it's because I thought you said you send them back.
No, isolation centers.
So Couldn't they be made while they're in isolation, recognized as core members, the period they spend while being isolated, calculated as part of camp for them? That's why I was good.
Sure. You know, NYSC, because of the spread of this virus, they cannot keep them in orientation camp. But having called them up for national service, it starts counting. Because they have been called up for national service. But because of their ill health, nobody allows them into the orientation camp. It's very clean and very pure.
All right,
so I was happy to hear the clarification. We got that when we read it in the papers. We noticed that it was a bit the reporting was a bit distorted, making it look like maybe there was an outbreak of COVID within the camps, and we were able to make this clarification yesterday, and you're reiterating it today in that there's no outbreak within the camps are safe, and those clamoring for the shutting of camps don't need to say that. But, you know, after the camps, what else would be, is it that once the orientation camp is done, the NYSC Corps no longer takes responsibility for whatever spread or COVID incidents that happen to core members while they are serving in their different places of deployment?
Network challenge there. We'll have to take a short break, and when we return, we'll continue our conversation here. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
I'm looking for the cup I kept here. Let's film Gary Mijeje.
But really, how is that my fault now? You're playing game, and I'm playing along with you.
You have a very bad timing. Oh, when to bring and when not to bring it. Oh, but salary it here. Oh, to one demand the one your way. What kind of husband does that?
Ọlọ́run má jẹ́, ọkùnrin lèmi máa mi. No, olóyè kó bẹ̀ mí, olóyè kó wà submissive. Tí nǹkan bá ṣẹlẹ̀, olóyè kó kúnlẹ̀ kó bẹ̀ ọkọ ẹ̀.
Tó bá ti gbèrò lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ nìkan bá lọ.
Kò sówó lọ́wọ́ tí ẹ. Kí ló fowó ṣe?
Just imagine, ìwọ fúnra ara ẹ̀ lójú tiẹ̀ nínú aṣọ ẹbí tí wọ́n fẹ́ kówó rà àti business tọkọ tí ẹ fẹ́ fowó ṣe èwo lórí sí nínú.
Kẹ́mi dúró, kí dúró kó máa fojú mi rí rẹ́dẹ̀rẹ́dẹ́, kí máa wo ṣe àtórí burúkú tẹ́tọ́ ń ṣe tẹ́tọ́ ń kí sára yín láàrin títì.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Àwọn kan wà tí wọ́n bá kú tọ́jọ́ kú wọn ò tí ì pé wọ́n á papòdà síbòmíì.
Is that how you're gonna say it?
Ọkọ̀ tí wàá sọ yìí.
Ó ṣe wá kọ̀wé ránṣẹ́ wípé òun fẹ́.
right, thank you for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we were speaking with Eddie Megwa, the Deputy Director, Press and Public Relations of the NYSC, and also State Coordinator, NYSC. He was reacting to reports of a number of core persons that were said to be positive in the camp. Well, he clarified that story, saying that they were prospective core members. And Topo, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes. So my question was that I see that there's a lot of good work being done to prevent the spread of COVID within the camp in that 3 weeks period. What my question is after the camp and they've been deployed to wherever they're serving, is the NYSC corps no longer responsible for the corps members if they now become COVID, if they now get the virus, or what else happens? If they test positive, what happens to them after they've left the camp? And who's responsible for them? Because some of them have been, like the case of Imo to Castina, Katsina, they've gone they're somewhere else and they're not familiar with the area. Who takes care of them while they are there? Is there any budget for healthcare while they are serving in other regions?
Yeah. NYSC, we follow up our core members right from the point we push them out from the orientation camp. We have inspectors in all the local government areas in all the states of the Federation. And inspectors are there to follow them up to their places of primary assignment. And they have all the contacts of the core members, and the core members have the contacts of all the local government inspectors. Now, should there be any problem with any of our core members, our inspectors will go on immediately and arrest the situation. The one that will need immediate referral, we are working hand in hand with NCDC. We'll call on them and immediately they take care of them. Now, wherever we need to spend money, no matter how much, to ensure we save the life of any core member, NYSC is openly and disposed to it. And you see the Director General, you saw him at Akwa Ibom, because of how he feels over what happened. There is no amount of money we spend the youth of this nation that will be considered to be too much. And that's what NYSC is doing. We don't allow them to just hang around anyhow. And that is why orientation camp is very primary. This is where we teach them how to conduct themselves when they leave the orientation camp. If you come around to NYSC orientation camp in Lagos, you will see all the things we have put in place to make sure we sensitize them and make them to acquire the habit of sustaining the COVID-19 protocols, even when they leave the orientation camp. So we are all over making sure that we'll be able to take care of the situation.
So you say you are following them and they have your numbers. Now, are you giving them tests? Because now they are being exposed. This is after they leave the camp I'm talking about now. Maybe they go to different jobs, teaching jobs. Yes. They are exposed now. Are you going to be testing them regularly, like once a month, to make sure they don't come down with the
when they come for their CD,
virus? The virus.
Clearance, monthly clearance.
No. What will happen is, in orientation camp, we have tested them. And when they go to the larger society, we urge them to obey the COVID-19 protocols. Look, if you obey these protocols, you are more likely to run into problems.
Okay.
Eddie Megwa. Right. I guess network challenge there.
Rain is catching network.
Rain is catching network. All right. But I guess we have some reaction on the tubes with regards to...
Yes, we have plenty tubes. Let me read some. Let me go. Hey, where do I start from?
Anywhere. Okay, I hear he is back. Eddie Megwa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, continue with your conversation,
Yeah, I was saying that in orientation camp, we sensitize them and make them to be conscious of the prevalence of this COVID-19. Now, when we leave orientation camp, they follow up with the same attitude. Now, don't forget, NYSC is not operating in different societies. NYSC operate in the same Nigerian society. So whatever that is in place to make sure that this disease does not spread up to the core members will also be observed. But should there be any reason why any core member will have to go through the test, of course NYSC will do that. And if there is any financial commitment that is involved, NYSC will equally pay it accordingly.
Right. As much as we laud the effort being made by the NYSC, how about ensuring their safety to their various destinations? In terms of, we see what just happened, the 5 core members, prospective core members who lost their lives. Is the body working with perhaps the aviation sector to see if they can put together a subsidized package for prospective core members so that they can arrive safely to their various destinations when it comes to coming to the camps? Eddie Megwa, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think, yeah, okay, I can hear you. It went off, but I can hear you now. It's off again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
No, I was asking that is the body working to ensure that there is a customized package, working with aviation sector to ensure a customized package for prospective core members so that to ensure their safety, since this is one of the objectives of the body, such that these people arrive their various destinations safely, and we don't continue having incidents of death like we recorded recently.
Yeah, like I said earlier on, we feel very sad that what happened. But I'm sure right now, as you speak, the directorate is working out how they will synergize with so many airlines and see how they can give NYSC rebate to ensure that core members that are going to answer the clearance call will see such rebate opportunities to access their orientation camp venues. But beyond that, the NYSC Director General, before the commencement of the orientation camp, had a webinar, and all the core members were enjoying it. Please, don't travel at night. It's dangerous. Wherever you get to, once it's 6 p.m., please pass the night. The next day, you continue. You know, we can only do what we can do as human beings. But NYSC cannot start carrying core members by hand, moving from one point to the other, because NYSC is still existing in the same society. But they are working out at the directorate headquarters ways how NYSC can synergize with airlines so that during the period of answering the clearance call, they will be able to give them rebate so that most of them that can afford it should be able to hop in and travel safely. And we also say nobody should travel at night so that we'll be able to run away from all this problem of road traffic accidents. We also have synergy with National Union of Road Transport Workers. We tell them, please, when core members are involved, don't carry overload. Don't carry them and travel in the night. Now, if all this synergy compressed with NYSC, I'm very sure most of these things will be reduced to BRS minimum.
If traffic catches them on the road and then they now enters to the night, because it's a long distance from where they were going, Uyo to Katsina.
Once you get to a place that is safe, stop there and sleep. You don't need to continue in the night. It's not safe, especially our roads are bad. You don't need to keep traveling in the night. It's very, very horrendous. You don't do that. And we tell them all the time.
All right.
It's wrong for them to travel in the night.
All right.
The bus that you have paid for.
We just have to leave the conversation here now. Eddie Megwa, Deputy Director, Press and Public Relations, NYSC, and State Coordinator, NYSC, thank you for your time. Well, it's a lot, YK, because some persons do not prepare for staying over somewhere else because they have limited funds. What
Exactly.
do they do?
You've paid for a bus to take you to Katsina.
Yes.
And then 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you are still on the road. Maybe you are in Benue. You have not reached anywhere. You say, the bus driver is not going to refund your money now.
He would not. So what do they do? Anyway, you said you had tips.
Plenty.
So on Facebook, John Jibogu is disagreeing with the NYSC coordinator. He said, if a graduate or prospective core member is given a call-up letter, regardless of being sworn in or not, such a person is a core member.
Okay.
Good. These are from the last topic. Good way. Healthcare is not only about hospitals; it's about building small hubs in rural areas. Olamide Adala says, he's talking about China. I think she was talking about China. And Biliki says, I watched a BBC lifestyle documentary last night. It was disturbing listening to the statistics. I shed tears listening to a lady who lost her 6-month-old baby due to medical lapses. Del Amazon, it's not mental illness. If it's not mental illness going on seriously, should they allow people go for the nonsense youth service when we are not blind to what's going on in the world? Most leaders need, oh my gosh, goodness, mental evaluation.
Imam Yahya says, on NYSC, this is another reflection of our ruling class elites' apathy to people's well-being. They are not sensitive to people's needs and non-responsive to the grassroots clarion call for good governance.
All right, we need to quickly go on a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at a very interesting topic, a topic that would interest parents. I mean, everyone, not just parents. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
I kept you. Let's film Gary me, Jeje.
But really, how is that my fault now? You're playing game and I'm playing along with you.
You have a very bad timing. Oh, when to bring and when not to bring it. Oh, but salary it here. What you want demand the one over way? What kind of husband does that?
Ọlọ́run má jẹ́, ọkùnrin lèmi máa mi. No, olóyè kó bẹ̀ mí, olóyè kó wà submissive. Tí kan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ olóyè kó kúnlẹ̀ kó bẹ̀ ọkọ ẹ̀.
Tó bá ti bèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ní kan bá mi.
Kò sówó lọ́wọ́ tiẹ̀. Kí ló fowó ṣe?
Just imagine, ìwọ fúnra ara ẹ̀ lójú tiẹ̀ nínú aṣọ ẹbí tí wọ́n fẹ́ kówó rà àti business tọkọ tí ẹ fẹ́ fowó ṣe èwo lórí nínú.
Kẹ́mi dúró, kí dúró kó máa fojú mi rí rẹ́dẹ̀rẹ́dẹ́, kí máa wo ṣe àtòrí burúkú tẹ́tọ́ ṣe tẹ́tọ́ kí ìsara yín láàrin títì.
How we're doing, guys? Is the makeup in progress? Makeup.
Check.
Are the scripts on the prompter? Script.
Check.
Are we set in the PCR? All Tim in place? PCR.
Check. Clock is ticking, time is racing, lights on. Plans all set. 120 minutes of hot entertainment. We are ready for the mission.
A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversations on the hot topics. The ladies of Your View and I will be stirring up our guests to get an in-depth into all the various topics, and you, our viewers, will have the opportunity to call in and share your views. After all, it's Your View. Join us on Your View, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for a fantastic conversation. Don't miss it.
All right, thanks for staying with us. In Nigeria today, so many parents have resolved to enroll their children in school early. This, however, has over time had both positive and negative effects on these children. Joining us to enlighten us on the show on the ripple effects, how to develop a balanced child, and also conclude our discussion on child bullying is a child development expert and knowledge broker, Chidima Agomo. We will welcome her to the show as soon as she is available to us. But ladies, let's have this conversation, talking about enrolling your child early in school. A lot of parents want their children to graduate early enough, just go through life early. I think I entered, my mom enrolled me in school at the age of 5. And then the criteria was 6 at the time. And we recall that our parents then, it is your hands going over your ear. There's always this criteria. But now we're hearing there are downsides to it and all of that. But I want to understand what it is, really.
I found primary school tough at 5. I entered
at 5, yeah?
Yes. I entered at 5 and I found it tough. I remember I just used to sit in class. I was always tired. I just wanted to go home. So for my children too, I see it happen with my second child. He had to start at 2 nursery because he has 4 classes of nursery. So my kids are usually 6 when they start primary classes. So I'm targeting 6. It will be 6 by the time he's in primary 1. When it's resuming. Unfortunately, his month is the month of resumption for a new session. But I've seen how the teachers are not in tune with a young child, how the form of education that we have in Nigeria and the way parents push the children towards mastering, cramming, because I don't consider it education. I took them recently for this summer classes for just this lesson, what we call jelly, and I didn't like the school because the level of exposure that I have now when it comes to education, I have a child psychologist I speak to about my kids. I take them, I assess my children. I see that I'm not impressed by this. How can you have, and your lesson, what are you doing for them? He said, no, we just do English and maths for them. I said, so what is English, numbers, and maths, alphabets? I said, excuse me. I said, well, thank God it's the...
Perhaps this is why a lot of persons said we need to change our curriculum, even for teachers.
These are private schools.
And all of
I think the checks are not enough because the curriculum is not strong. The reason why they have to do that journey to where the school is at, in that entire area, that's the only school that has the kind of standard that I want for the children. So the distance that they go, I pity for them. But education is not only alphabet and, you know, you cannot base a child's intelligence on that.
For me, I don't know. Where are we running to? Like, where are the children running to?
We want them to grow quickly.
Like, my kids want to grow quickly, and I tell them, see, there's enough time for adulthood. Like, there's enough time for you to be an adult. So for now, enjoy being a child and enjoy the process. And I know that I want them to start early because you want to be able to brag that my child finished secondary school at 13 and my child was the youngest. It's just for your own ego as a parent, not for the psychology and the health of the child. You're not considering that. So I realized, I went to school one day and found out that my last born was sleeping. They say, he's always sleeping in class. Like, he's always sleeping in class. You mean he's been, like, every day, he would sleep almost throughout the break? Because he came home and said he didn't eat his food, that he did not finish his work. Why didn't you finish your work? I said, I slept. Why did you sleep in school? They say, he's always sleeping in school. No, apparently, they've been keeping late nights at home. So my thought is, if you sleep early, it's not you sleep early so that you can wake up early, get to school in time. But when you're not taking into consideration the fact that the child needs to sleep, you wake up the child very early because of your own life, and then it's impacting on the fact that the child is sleeping in school. That's on one end. And then we are hurrying children into primary school, hurry them into promotion, and they will do their promotion, and the child's psychology is not able to
grasp everything that is coming in contact with.
And children are different. My twin, one of them will laugh at the other one. He's taking a picture of his brother, and his brother did not smile. And my son started crying, that I told him to smile. I don't know why he will not smile for me. And then he was crying. And his brother was like, so if he does not smile, why are you crying? Like, It is his own picture. You know, so each person has how they react to different things.
Parents need to study
we
that.
must accommodate all of that. So we dump all of them into school and expect that a teacher who you are not even able to handle your 4 children, a teacher will not handle 20 children.
Yes.
We parents must get more involved in how we raise our children and not abdicate the duty of raising our children to just teachers, schools and boarding house and just keep pushing them somewhere else. We need to be more hands-on.
Some of us don't even prepare them for the boarding secondary.
At all.
We're already looking at going to boarding. How well did you form your child? How strong, how independent is that
Perhaps
child?
this is why we see the level of bullying that we see in some of these schools, because the child is not well developed for what is going to face. And then the other side to it, where the child becomes depressed and is just transferring his aggression on another child. We see all of this display. There was a video that was on your page yesterday.
Yes. I just wanted to, because of the sleep matter, I just Googled it. And how many hours do children need to sleep? An infant, 4 to 11 months, 12 to 15 hours. A toddler, 1 to 2 years, 11 to 14 hours. Preschool, 3 to 5 years. Preschool, they call 3 to 5 preschool, 10 to 13 hours. And school age, 6 to 13 years, 9 to 11 hours. So obviously our children are not getting enough.
At all. They're undersleeping.
All right, quickly, we have a caller on the line, Abiodun, calling from Idimu. Abiodun, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution. Abiodun, are you there?
Yes, please, I'm there.
All right, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, I would like to contribute to the school enrollment. I think, first and foremost, before we begin to talk about the reason why parents usually are in a rush to enroll their children, we have to really know the root cause. The root cause today in our employment system, you realize that a lot of people, when they get to a certain age, there's an age barrier for employment.
Yes.
So the reason why most parents actually want to rush their children's education is because they know by the time they are 25, they place an embargo. When you are above certain age, you can't be employed. You understand? It's actually a challenge. So we have to really discuss about it because it's a major problem, and that is the reason why parents are rushing their children's education. I was a victim of employment because by the time I graduated, I was already at 29, and I could not. I find it difficult to get a suitable employment. Before you know it, they contract you. When you are above certain age, you become a contract staff. Especially in the banking sector, they will not employ you as their full staff.
Thank you, Abiodun.
Thanks for that angle.
Yes, that's a critical point to consider because at a certain age, perhaps 25, that is the limit. You must have social qualification,
all your qualifications and be ready to
all of it,
work.
masters and all.
There's an elder that I look up to who's 5 children, I think 6 children, 4 girls. What he does for his girls is, even though they went to school early, is to quickly find a business, a skill that they master. And when I met the young lady, she already had a farm somewhere in Cotonou. She studied agriculture not to have a degree. But unfortunately, in Nigerian system, which was the problem the father had, that Nigerian system, you study and then you start to carry your CV around. So you're not... but the way he was raising his children, he was deliberate about how they are going to be graduating employers. They are going into creating businesses and be employing people. So he was already looking into that, and he himself was a businessman who the system did not favor, and he already did something about it. So I think, yes, what the caller said is a fact, and it's not good at all. But how many of these companies would employ us? The system, government should start to look, aside the grants that they give, start to look for ways that our graduates are coming out with the mindset of employing people already. They are already growing, and their projects in school are creating businesses that they know will fly and better the economy. Not the way we have done it, where you are looking for one auntie and one uncle.
I find it very strange that they don't employ people who are of a certain age.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because my daughter lives in England. I don't hear... I know a lot of people that live in England. I know someone who just got employment and she's almost 40. So it's something very peculiar to our society, I believe. And these are things I think should be regulated.
That's why there are some persons who believe that's why we are not getting that level of mentoring of certain persons. Because in some sectors, you should have people who can serve as mentors for others. They understand the system, they have the experience, but they are not there to help groom others. We are not seeing people grooming others. All right, we're not seeing other people grooming these people into become who can hold their own.
Yeah.
And it's not helping our system
at all.
It's just like you retire at 60. But
Like-
you can be president at 80. Which kind of country are we living in?
Okay. I want us to go back to the sleep thing because I feel that sleep and bullying. Let's talk more about sleeping and how parents can encourage children to sleep more. And you know, we grew up in a time when there wasn't telephones and laptops. Every child having a tablet and all of that, and these things they stimulate the brain. So many children, even when they are not watching the TV, they are on one gadget or the other, and these things keep their brains active. Children are very imaginative. They still want to like gist with each other through. So I realize that even when my kids have put them to bed, they are still talking. Like they are talking to each other, the cartoon, and they are not sleeping. So yesterday I tell my husband, like, we are going to wait until they sleep. Like we'll check and be sure they have already slept before we leave them below. But I think parents need to get more involved in
We have our
ensure
guest on the line, a child development expert and knowledge broker, Chidinma Agomo. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Thank
Good
you.
to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's talk about this. You're the expert here. Tell us how early is too early to enroll a child in school?
Oh, this is such a pleasure to be here this morning. And from what we've been seeing in recent times, I see people enrolling children in school as early as 2 years. I think that it's so ridiculous. I think that is not a proper thing to do. You know, I think that is child abuse to put it in a very strong form. You know, but I see that our parents are doing this because we find out that most of us have gotten very busy. And when I talk to a lot of people, they want time for themselves, they want time to go to work, you know, and this is making us to put toddlers as early as 1.5, 2 years. These children are being put into school, and we don't realize the damage we're causing to the lives of these children, only for us to realize it later on in their years, and this is disturbing.
For some parents, it's just survival, so they might never realize it. So how do you, what exactly, for those of parents who think, okay, it's just for crèche, so I find a place to keep the child because I need to go to work. What sort of setting do you need to see to be sure this is okay for your child? You know, so that it's not, the child is not made to sit up and then be cramming some things for you when you come back.
Sorry, can you come again? What sort of?
So if you take your child to a crèche, if your intention is to put your child somewhere while you're working, what sort of facility do you need to see when you inspect that place for you to be sure that's the right place to put your child at 2?
Okay, I think first and foremost, if you decide to put your child in a crèche, for instance, like you said, you have to make sure that it is in a very elaborate environment. And what I mean by elaborate environment is an environment where the child has enough space to run around. It's not just a classroom environment. Like what we see most often in recent times is you find schools in residential buildings. I don't know who is giving approval for these things. And these things have effect on the children. Where the children are being kept within an enclosure, you find out 15 children, 20 children are in a tiny room of about 15 feet, you know, and that is not very beneficial to the child. So if you must put your child in a crèche at such a tender age, I would suggest that you make sure that this child is in an environment that has a lot of compound space so that these children are let out to go and play. You know, that is what the name is, a play group. So you're actually looking for someone to mind your child while you go to work. You know, so you should give these children space to run around, to play, and to sleep when they want to, and not confine them to a space where you're restricting their movement, you're giving them regimens, it's time to sleep, it's time to eat, or be careful, don't hit the other child, don't hurt the other child. These things go on to affect the child later on in their years, affect their development, and we don't realize it.
All right. YK?
No.
So I want to ask you a question, because this is the season. We're in the season pre-enrollment. Many people, the school resumes in September, and the thoughts are always about what school can my child go into. And I'd like to ask you this question. We've discussed it, and I think we all read that the appropriate age for primary should be around 6, 5, 6. Yep. And we've seen there's a video of bullying, and maybe because the children get into school early, so what's the appropriate age for secondary school and what's the appropriate age for primary school? And how do you think that impacts on the behavior of the child when they are in school? Maybe someone is smallish or the smallest in the class, do they tend to get more bullied than if they were appropriately the right age with other people in their classroom?
Thank you very much. I think you hit it right there on the head. Once we start with getting our children into school very early, you find out that the child begins to conform to those things, to those rules that you want the child to conform to. They do the things you want them to do. They play where you want them to play. They play the kind of games you want them to play. They learn what you want them to learn, write what you want them to write. So right now, as the child grows up, the child has been conformed into a particular mold. The child is not necessarily given expression to himself or herself, especially when they are underaged. They don't know how to say, oh, I don't want to do this, or, oh, please, can I do this other thing instead of doing this other thing? And this goes on to, they carry it on to primary school. I think 6 is very appropriate, for a child to start primary school, But I find out in our school these days that, like you've all been saying, our parents are in a hurry. So you find out that most of the schools are not even willing to have a primary 6. I recently learned in a state here in Nigeria, all the schools in that state do not have primary 6. So these children are rushed through school, and they take common entrance examinations as early as 4 years. Class 4, primary 4, primary 4 and primary 5, and they enter secondary school. Now, their life has been interrupted, and they've not allowed themselves to mature, to the age that they should. We focus so much on their IQ. What do they know? Oh, my child knows a lot. Oh, my child can solve all the divisions you can think about. And we use that to move them along, forgetting that these children need emotional stability. That these children need to be developed socially. And this is what they acquire when they mingle with their mates at age-appropriate times. Yeah. So when they get into secondary school, some things come to them naturally. They are not struggling. They are not being victimized by another child. They are not feeling oppressed by another child. They give expression to what they want. They say no to what they do not want. But when we rush these children, we find out that because they're trying to please us and they are doing very well in school, they keep on coping. But mentally, they are not stable. And it's this mentally unstable children that turn out to be bullies in school. Because all through their lives, they've been regimented, they've been cocooned, they've been confined into a particular mode. They've not been allowed to grow out themselves, to give expression to the kind of person they want to be. They've not had interpersonal relationship skills with anyone. They've grown up in a particular system, timetable, with very little or no interaction with other children. And this affects them so much. And they turn out to be bullies. When they get into secondary school and they see other children being happy, being so confident, they can't understand it. They can't identify with it. And so what they try to do is to put down that child, especially if they are taller or bigger. They will try to snub that child or not be so friendly or to shut that child down when the child is being very expressive and they can't relate with it.
Earlier, when you were talking, you touched a very important point. So we find parents who are made to be apologetic about an outspoken, an expressive child because, that example you gave is supposed to be that the child, they're not trained and wear that kind of thing. You know, when a child, can you just, you know, expand on that issue again?
Yes. When a child is developing, it is an opportunity for us to understudy that child. You know, like you, one of you rightly pointed out, a lot of children have different attributes. They have different ways of expressing themselves. They have different ways of expressing joy or expressing fear or crying when they don't like something. So now at their developing ages is the time for them to give expression to that. But when they have been made not to expect, let me give a very typical example. When we put these 2-year-olds in school and maybe they want to sleep, you know, children most times when they want to sleep, they start crying.
Yes.
You know, and the supervisor or a teacher is there and is telling the child, don't cry. You're disturbing this other person. Toby is sleeping. Can't you see Amira is sleeping? Or this child is eating and you're crying. Or they make the rest of the class sing, cry, cry, baby for you. You know, and the child becomes very withdrawn or feels bad. You have tampered with that child without knowing, without meaning to. But you're molding that child to become what you want the child to be. Because you want comfort and ease, because you're minding several children at the same time. So at every point in time, this child is looking at you and wanting to please you and not displease you, so that it doesn't get yelled at. You know, so that really affects their behavior, and we should be very mindful about doing that to children.
All right, why quickly?
Yeah, I want to go to bullying, because yesterday I posted a video of this school, King's College, and the...
Okay, I saw it.
The child, the person that recorded it, I know the person that recorded it, and he had been complaining to his ward, they are bullying us, they are bullying us. And then he you know, you could even see he was scared as he was doing the video. How can we stop these kids from being bullied in these schools? Because when I put it, a lot of people are saying, it's normal, it's normal, it's your rite of passage. I can't understand it. So is there a way we can stop this bullying in schools?
Thank you very much. Like I said, you know, what we're facing right now, especially in the Nigerian system, is like medicine after death. You know, a lot of us have done this rush, and a lot of these children are not mentally and emotionally stable. You know, so at this moment, I think what we can do to help ourselves and the other children within the school environment, because these children come from different backgrounds, and our backgrounds have so much to do with our formations and how we behave towards another child. You know, so what I think we can do at this time is, aside from, you know, putting the children together once in a while to give seminars, I'm aware some schools have no bullying days and all that. I think the schools should make it compulsory that this bullying thing is made a curriculum. It's made a subject in the school. And why I say so is because it will be taken more seriously. The children will be made to understand that for you to be a bully, you have a problem. You have a complex problem. You have an inferiority complex, or you lack self-confidence. The children have to be made to know that if you're a bully, there is an issue with you, not with the other person. And if you're constantly trying to put down another child, then you are the person that needs help. You know, but most times when they come into schools and maybe they bring outsiders to just come once in a while, give these lectures, some of the children do not even turn up. You know, some of the children are like, oh, don't mind him, he doesn't know what he's saying. But I believe if it is made a subject and these children understand the consequences of what they have become, based on their background or where they're heading to, they'll be able to take it more seriously.
All right. Child development expert and knowledge broker, thank you so much, Chidima Agomo, for your time.
Thank you so much.
On the show.
Thank
Obviously,
you so much.
parents, they say charity begins at home.
Yes.
Parents have a lot to do with developing their children such that they don't become bullies in the society, basically. This is where we'll wrap up the show this morning. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, ladies. You can join the show again tomorrow for another exciting episode. Thank you for joining us. Bye.